When I think about geese, I usually think about them waddling around parks, maybe chasing after a breadcrumb or two, but the footage you shared, well, let's just say it throws that whole image right out the window.
Yeah.
Geese are squaring off with tigers,
Yeah.
they're hitching rides on eagles.
Wow.
These birds clearly have a wild side we don't usually see.
Yeah, it's amazing how easily we underestimate them.
Yeah.
We label them as docile. But geese are built with a tool that hints at a more assertive past.
Okay.
They have this tooth-like beak,
A tooth-like beak.
serrated edges along their beaks, unlike most birds today.
Okay, tooth-like beak sounds a bit intense for our feathered friends, doesn't it?
It's a fascinating remnant of their ancestry, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine their ancestors potentially much larger with those serrated beaks really put to use.
Oh.
Today, those serrations are made of keratin like our fingernails,
Yeah.
but they can still pack a punch.
Yeah.
Ever heard the saying, you haven't had a full childhood unless you've been chased by a goose?
Huh. I have to admit, there's some truth to that. Those beaks aren't just for show, are they? Speaking of ancestors, this might sound a bit out there, but could these seemingly harmless geese be related to, well, dinosaurs?
Well,
Like velociraptors? I know it sounds crazy.
not as crazy as you might think.
Really?
Recent discoveries have painted a very different picture of velociraptors than those scaly terrors we often imagine.
Okay.
A newly unearthed species was, get this, amphibious.
So like a frog, living a double life on land and water.
Exactly. This velociraptor had adaptations suggesting it navigated both worlds, much like modern geese.
Wow.
It's challenged our whole understanding, making us rethink these creatures as more versatile and adaptable than we ever imagined. And it doesn't stop there.
Okay.
Scientists believe this amphibious lifestyle might have been common to the whole Dromaeosauridae family that includes velociraptors and their relatives.
Wow, a whole dynasty of water-loving, potentially goose-like raptors. That's a serious family reunion I wouldn't want to crash.
Right.
So it's not that geese are mini velociraptors, but there's a shared ancestry there, a connection to a distant past that's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
It really makes you appreciate the subtle ways evolution plays out, how these seemingly harmless creatures carry a legacy that's millions of years old.
Absolutely.
And speaking of surprising connections, have you ever noticed how rarely you see snakes in areas where geese are prevalent?
Now that you mention it, no, I haven't. That's a strange connection I never made. Is there something to that or just a weird coincidence? It's definitely not something you'd usually put together geese in the absence of snakes. Is there scientific evidence behind this or just one of those old wives' tales?
It's a bit of a mystery,
Okay.
but there are a few theories floating around. Some researchers think it could be linked to parasites commonly found in goose droppings.
Hmm.
These parasites are believed to be harmful to snakes, creating an environment where they don't thrive.
So geese as unintentional pest control. That's a fascinating idea.
It really makes you think about the interconnectedness of ecosystems, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's also the possibility that geese might emit certain chemicals that snakes find unpleasant. However, more research is needed to confirm either of these theories definitively.
A predator that deters snakes just by existing. That adds a whole new layer to the whole beware the goose campaign. But speaking of how we view these feathered enigmas, their impact on human culture is undeniable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Geese have taken flight in stories from ancient myths to modern memes. They've earned their place in history and folklore worldwide.
Like the story of the geese that saved Rome. Talk about a clutch save. And then there's their role as guard animals in China, which is something I never knew about until diving into this deep dive.
Right, they were, and in some cases still are considered incredibly effective guards.
Wow.
Geese are naturally alert and surprisingly vocal, especially when they sense a threat. There are records of geese being used as guard animals dating back thousands of years in China.
That's incredible. Imagine relying on a flock of geese to sound the alarm instead of watchdog. And of course, we can't forget about the culinary world's love affair. With geese, roast, goose foie gras, they've landed on menus across the globe.
It's true. Geese hold a unique place in culinary traditions worldwide.
Yeah.
But the real intrigue is how these traditions can vary drastically from region to region, for instance.
Sure.
There's a captivating story about Emperor Zhu Yanzang and a ban on eating geese in Nanjing.
Wait, a ban on eating goose. Now that's a story I need to hear. What happened?
Legend has it that Emperor Zhu Yanzang linked the goose to the unfortunate demise of one of his most trusted generals. It involves a strange astrological omen with the moon and goose soon after the general passed away after consuming a roast goose, a dish sent to him by the emperor.
Oh no. That took an unexpected turn, a tragic tale that changed the culinary landscape of a region. The power of geese? Or perhaps just superstition?
It's hard to say for sure, but the story goes that this event led to geese being removed from menus in Nanjing for a considerable time. It highlights the profound influence these birds have had on our cultural practices, even shaping something as personal as our food choices.
It's a stark contrast to how other parts of China view and consume goose right, like in Guangdong.
Absolutely. Guangdong has a well-known fondness for goose dishes in Shaoshan cuisine. The lionhead goose is practically royalty. This breed is impressive, often weighing over 40 pounds.
How? 40 pounds? That's bigger than some dogs. I know what makes them so special in Taoshan cuisine. 40 pounds is massive. What makes the lionhead goose so special in Taoshan cuisine?
They're prized for their size, their flavor, and those distinctive fleshy knobs on their heads called sarcoids.
Ah, yes, the famous five sarcoids. They do give the lionhead goose a certain je ne sais quoi. I've heard those are considered a delicacy, especially as the goose gets older.
You heard right. A 3-year-old goose head can fetch a hefty price upwards of 2,000 yuan, a testament to the Cantonese love for this delicacy. They say the older the goose, the larger and more flavorful the sarcoids become. And then there was that stewed goose viral moment in Shenzhen a while back.
Oh, right. I remember that everyone and their grandma thought they could cash in on knowing the secret to stewing the perfect goose. Turns out it was a hoax,
Why?
but it just goes to show how geese can capture the public imagination even in the digital age. But speaking of viral geese, remember those videos we were talking about?
Yeah.
The ones with the geese freaking out in their enclosures because of their shadows? Hilarious and a little bit sad at the same time.
Yeah, geese and their shadows have a more complex relationship than you might think. It all boils down to their incredible night vision.
Okay.
Humans have 3 types of cone cells in our eyes, but geese have an extra one,
Mm.
allowing them to see a wider spectrum of light, including ultraviolet light, which is invisible to us.
Wait, so they're seeing colors we can't even imagine. It's mind-blowing. No wonder they panic when they see their own shadows. It's like they're stuck in a horror movie we can't even perceive.
Precisely. And this heightened sensitivity to light means that even in low light conditions, geese perceive shadows much more intensely than we do. So every flicker, every movement creates a moving shadow that looks like a potential threat.
That explains a lot. But thankfully, someone found a way to calm the chaos, right? You mentioned shadowless goose houses earlier.
Yes, that's a fantastic example of human ingenuity solving a problem we probably created in the first place. These specially designed houses use multiple light sources placed at strategic angles to minimize shadows this way. Even at night, the geese aren't constantly bombarded by what they perceive as threats.
Talk about a win-win. So what started with a video compilation of geese being, well, totally unexpected, has turned into a deep dive into their secret lives. Who knew these feathered creatures were descendants of dinosaurs, masters of disguise, cultural icons, and apparently connoisseurs of good lighting?
Right. It's remarkable what we uncover when we scratch beneath the surface, isn't it? The geese we often overlook have a story to tell, a tapestry woven from evolution culture, and even our own attempts to understand the natural world.
Next time I see a flock of geese, I'll be sure to appreciate them with a fresh perspective shadows, and maybe I'll even try my hand at that stewed goose recipe. Thanks for joining us on this eye-opening deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those goose videos coming.